Question for you. Have you ever walked into a room and just felt off? Like the air was thick, the vibe was off and weird, and I don't know, something you just know just isn't right? Or maybe it's that you're not even in a room at all. Maybe it's in a conversation, a relationship, a group chat, or just even showing up to your job that feels like you're feeling drained and irritated, or like a version of you just don't even recognize anymore. That's not just a bad mood. That's an energy problem. And if you don't know how to clear it, how to protect it, how to reset from it, you're probably going to spend your entire life fighting battles you don't even realize you're in. Energy hygiene isn't a luxury. It's not woo woo. It's survival, y'all. Like most of the advice out there that you're seeing on internet about energy hygiene, it's either way too complicated or it's too surface level. I'm not here about giving you the same old, let's just sage the house and carry some crystals and take a salt bath speech. Today, we're talking and going beyond that. We're talking about how real energy leaks, the ones that no one's warning you about, the ones that are keeping you, especially Black women, feeling stuck and under attack without even realizing it. That's what we're talking about today. Welcome to the Hello Well with Danielle podcast, your weekly mental vacation for the daily grind for busy women who just need a moment to pause, breathe, and woosah, and need a little bit of moment of freedom when life feels impossible. I'm your host, Danielle Washington. So what exactly is energy hygiene? The easiest way I can explain it, or to think about it, it's like taking a shower, but for your spirit, for your emotions, for your mental space. Like every day, you're picking up energy that's most likely not yours from your boss and his bad mood or his or her bad mood. I shouldn't assume it's just one gender. From text messages that we read, from conversations we have, from what we are reading and watching on social media, that can shift our whole mood, and you carry it with you whether you're realizing it or not. Energy hygiene is one of those things I feel like no one is talking about or thinking about. And right now, with everything going on, it's something that's so important to our survival. I don't know, the way I think about it is you wouldn't go a week without washing your body. At least I kind of hope you wouldn't, but if that's your thing, I'm not here to judge per se. But you shouldn't go days, weeks, and years without clearing your energy field as well. Because whether you know it or not, or you believe in energy or not, you feel it. That tension in the air before an argument, that exhaustion about scrolling through social media for too long, we all feel it. That's an energy transfer. And just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not weighing you down. Now, the most of the energy hygiene advice out there is good. I mean, you'll see, things, I'm just going to be honest about it, a lot of it's surface level. And some of these things you may or may not know about. And so, there's things like grounding yourself, walking barefoot in the grass, smudging your house and yourself with sage or Palo Santo, taking salt baths, meditating, visualizing like a golden light or a white light around you, carrying crystals like black tourmaline, cutting cords like energy cords, cleansing your aura with essential oils. Those are all things that a lot of people are already talking about. So this may sound familiar to you, but that's not enough. You wouldn't still be feeling drained if that was enough. You wouldn't still be feeling exhausted even after a full night's sleep if that was enough. And you wouldn't still feel like you're carrying this invisible weight that you can't seem to put down if those things were enough. And that's what I feel like people aren't talking about. That's because most of that advice out there stops at just the symptoms. And today I want to talk about the root causes so we can go deeper. Y'all, our nervous systems are under attack from many different angles. I'm talking societal expectations, ancestral trauma, constant emotional labor, and just moving around this world as being a Black woman in America, or just being Black in America, or even honestly, this applies to women in general. or even men in general, in all honesty. This energy hygiene isn't just for Black women, it's for everyone. But I talk about Black women because I've been watching and reading what people are saying, and their nervous systems are under attack. We don't have the luxury of ignoring our energy hygiene as a Black woman. But let's go beyond the surface to some of the things that I think no one's talking about. Like, for example, I don't think anyone's talking about these invisible contracts and energy leaks. Most of us are carrying contracts that we never even signed. These are like silent agreements to be the strong one, the responsible one, the fixer. Even though you probably are operating under them until you start questioning, like, who told me I had to do this? Who told me I had to be the strong one? Who benefits from me being the resilient one, the fixer? Who benefits from me not resting? These are questions to ask yourself. So start writing down those expectations that you feel that you're locked into. And then ask yourself, did I ever agree to this? And if not, release it. Because that is an energy leak that a lot of us are experiencing that we're not paying attention to. We're also not paying attention to like these energy entitlements of absorbing what's not yours. Because honestly, a lot of y'all out there are not empaths. Instead, you're just being a little bit energetically nosy in other people's business. The ability to absorb all the energy around you doesn't mean that you're quote unquote sensitive. It often means that you haven't learned discernment. Just because you can read someone's energy doesn't mean you should. And this is something I had to learn myself. So the next time you start feeling drained, I need you to ask yourself, was I invited into this energy, or did I just walk in uninvited? And that's something to consider. The other one I would think of is time as an energy parasite. Time isn't just about schedules. It's about how we experience our own existence. Like the scarcity mindset around time is truly draining a lot of us in more ways than people even start to realize. Like if you're always feeling rushed, you're always feeling like I'm busy being busy, you're always doing, your nervous system is constantly in a state of depletion. And it can't reset. It can't pause. It can't integrate. It needs a moment to breathe. So one of the things I love doing is practicing creating empty space on my schedule. So what I'll do is I'll either do it in the morning or I'll do it in the evening. I like doing it because I guess I do it in the morning too, but I like especially being more intentional about this in the evening. So whether you have an hour or 5 minutes in the day, I invite you to just sit and do nothing. This is not a time to plan your schedule for the next day. This is not a time to even meditate or any mantras or affirmations. It's a time to sit and do absolutely nothing. Your nervous system, your mind, your body needs that moment of stillness. Same thing that I think a lot of people aren't talking about is cleansing your name. Like, our names are tied to so much that we do. Our names hold frequencies. But how people say your name, how you say it, holds the energy behind it. Like, think about those people who are saying your name. Oftentimes you're only hearing your name being called out when you're asked to do something. So I invite you to say your name out loud and reclaim your name. Every morning, say your name out loud in a lovingly way. Like if someone calls you by a name or a nickname or a tone that you don't like, correct them. Reclaim your frequency. Another way to reclaim your frequency is by focusing on the karma around the food and water that you're intaking into your body. Because like everything you eat and drink holds energetic history. Whether you made it, whether it came from somewhere else, even the emotions behind the people who prepared it. A lot of us are praying of our food, which is great, but how often do you cleanse what's already in your body? So I invite you to speak into your water, speak into your food. May this nourish my body and spirit. May I clear away anything that doesn't serve me. And using that as a way to not just pray over your food, but also cleanse any energy that came from if you eat animals, clearing the energy of the animal. If you're, food of people who packaged the food, people who held the food of one way or another, people who prepared the food if it wasn't you. Take this opportunity to clear and cleanse the food and drinks that you have, so you're just doing another level of energy hygiene. Another one I think that people don't think about is resentment. I say people, and I include myself in this conversation because I wasn't doing this for the longest time. Resentment is one of the biggest silent energy leaks that people don't think about. Like, you can smudge your house all you want, but if you're still holding grudges, your energy is still compromised. Think of someone who makes your chest tight or makes you kind of cringe when you think about them or their name pops up. You're leaking energy. One way I like to kind of work with this one is doing resentment audits. Like, write a list of people whose names trigger you into irritation or frustration or whatever the emotion is that's not one that you want to have. And start asking, like, what do I need to shift in this dynamic? And then see what shifts you can make. I wouldn't recommend trying to do all this at once, but just pick one name and work on that. When I think of energy hygiene, I think one of the places people don't even think about is their sleeping hours. We need to start dropping the baggage before we go to sleep. And what I mean by this is your sleep should be a time for reset. But if you're going into sleeping with carrying the day's stress, your body is using that time to process all those emotions overnight. So it's not sleeping. That's why you're waking up feeling tired, because you never actually really had time to reset because you didn't put anything down. So it's time to start dropping those bags before we go to sleep. And what that means is, before going to bed, name what's leaving you feeling stressed out, leaving you feeling overwhelmed. Is it something that's coming up in the next day? Is it a conversation you had? Is it something that you read? Is it what's going on in the world? That deadline? Whatever it is, it's time for me to say, like, okay, all these different things, these energies, these articles, that deadline, it's not coming with me into my sleep. Reclaim your sleep and drop those baggage. One way I do that is by writing out all the different things and then saying to myself, after I write all those different things, all these things are not coming with me into my sleep. And lastly, the thing that I think people forget about often when it comes to energy hygiene, joy is a form of energy protection. Joy isn't just a mood. It's an energetic force field. A lot of people focus on removing bad energy, but they forget to actively cultivate good energy. Laughter, music, dancing, these things shake off that stagnant energy faster than any spiritual tool you can put. I feel like it works better than saging, better than grounding yourself. I feel like using that joy that I feel is trying to be stolen from us. And that's why I think it's trying to be stolen from us, because others know that it's one of the strongest forms of energy protection. So if they can steal our joy, they can steal our ability to protect ourselves. So I invite you to laugh. I invite you to dance. I invite you to every day find something that brings you joy. And if you think of different things, that's why I always tell my yoga therapy clients to write a list of all the things that bring you joy. So it's like you have your passwords for all your different social media things and things you do online. Have your passwords for your joy. Have that list. Play that music. Do whatever feeds your soul every single day, so you're, again, protecting your energy. Energy hygiene isn't just about cleansing negative energy. It's about reclaiming authority over your own spirit, your own mind, your emotions. It's about remembering that your energy is yours, not your boss's, not your kids, not your mama, not the internet, not the government, not your trauma, but yours. So the real question isn't, how do I protect my energy? The real question you need to be asking is, how much of my own energy do I actually own? Because if the answer is not much, or I don't know, then today is the day you need to start trying to get it back. Like, seriously? Pick one thing. Pick one thing from this episode and start there. Not everything needs to be done. Just pick one thing that resonated with you the most. Because energy hygiene isn't about putting more on your plate. You don't need that. It's about finally putting some things down. And if this episode resonated with you at all, if it made you rethink the way you are going to move around your world, if it made you feel that deep in your spirit that, maybe I need to start thinking about this energy hygiene, please share this. Tag me. Let's have a conversation. As I was saying early in the conversation, I've been in threads often, so you can follow me there. And I've been talking about energy hygiene a lot. But honestly, I really feel like this is my calling, or part of my calling in 2025, is helping more women, especially women of color, focus in and learn about their energy hygiene. Because the more of us who start doing this work, the harder it becomes for anyone and anything to drain us without our permission. And that's what I'm about in 2025 and 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, and it goes on. That's what I'm about, period. Thank you for joining me this week on the Hello Well with Danielle podcast, and I will see you guys next week. Ciao. Thanks for joining us this week on the Hello Well with Danielle show. Make sure to visit our website, hellowellwithdanielle.com, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music and never miss an episode. Also, you can follow us on social media at Hello Well with Danielle on Facebook and Instagram, and Hello Well Danny on Twitter. And if you hella love the show and got some good nuggets out of it, know that I'm not too proud to ask for you to please leave a rating or review on iTunes so that we can continue to expand our reach and help other women of color. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week. Ciao.